Well, okay, one thing we did gloss over, man, and I think it'd be interesting to hear more about it, was the switch from Red Bull. I think that is a massive thing for an athlete to do, isn't it? And I think even, well, in our circles, especially mountain biking, someone comes off Red Bull, it's huge news, people are speculating, why have they done it, all this sort of stuff. So how did that, obviously when you signed, that must have been like massive, and oh my God, like this is it. And then you
to be honest, mate, I actually hated it. I hated wearing that helmet. It was like the worst, ugliest looking helmet ever, wasn't it? Like, come on, let's be honest. Like, I'm not hating on Red Bull or anything, but like wearing that helmet, I just felt like such a twat.
Hello and welcome to TRC 72, or the ride companion, or should I say, wait for it, the slide companion.
Oh, dude, you've been waiting for that one. You've been waiting.
I thought of it a second ago. And I was like, right, we're gonna do that.
I like it. Been waiting two years to have someone who rides snow stuff to slide that in there.
Exactly. Slide it in there. I like that.
That's a good episode title too, actually. Before we even start, like that is because the episode titles are always really hard to think of. So the slide companion
is
good.
We need to introduce Jamie.
Good.
Jamie Nicholls, everyone. Round of applause. Jamie Nicholls. Thanks for joining us. Our first snowboard guest. Hi.
First Olympian.
Hi. First
Olympian.
I think so. I'd say so.
Dude, that's cool.
Surely not.
Yeah, I think
Surely not. Really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will be.
All right.
It will be. You're the most elite person we've had on here.
Nah, I don't believe that at all.
It's true. Trust me.
Nowhere near as elite as you.
You're fucking mate.
I'm not sure. I've seen you ride a bike.
Yeah, it's good.
It's true, actually.
Basically, I only see the start because whenever I'm trying to follow you down a trail, like I'm only there. I only see you for like 2 seconds, and then you fucked off.
You can only imagine what I would look like on snow. It won't happen.
Maybe we should do it the other way around.
We should indeed. Yeah. So, Davey, I've been riding quite a lot with Jamie.
Yep.
I guess since you moved down south, right?
Yeah. Well, I lived in Shalford for a while, and then just outside of Guildford, and then I moved to Cranley, which is like the bottom of like Pitch Hill, Pease Lake, that kind of area. Yeah. So it was actually Jack from Canyon, who I don't know if you've had Jack on here or whatever, but
I know Jack.
It was.
I think Ollie know Jack as well.
Yeah. So I got speaking to him, and it was only probably a year and a half ago. He hooked me up with a bike, and that was the first kind of proper mountain bike that I had. And then he took me straight away up to like the top of Pitch Hill, and I'm not even joking. I was at the top, and he just flew down and left me, and I was absolutely shitting myself. I was like, never ridden anything like this before, and he just obviously presumed I could. And then I'm at the top, and when you like. You probably don't know, but like when you're starting out, I was kind of like straddling the bike. I was off the seat, and then I basically just flipped over down that really steep bit.
Do you feel there's no crossover? Do you feel like there's literally zero crossover? No, honestly. Other
than riding like the berms, like where you enter in high and stuff, like to get a good line. That's kind of similar to snowboarding in a way. But apart from that, I find the thing I pick up things pretty quickly, but at the start, I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was so scared of going quick, and it's taken a year for me to get comfortable with following you or Jack really as quickly as I can. But jumping, I'm not so good at leaving the ground on a bike. That's one thing I've got to work on. But
it's wicked. I'm glad you found riding though. I mean, it'd be hard to not find riding living at the foot of one of the main Surrey hills. But which brings me on to, how on earth did you find snowboarding? Where did you live before?
So when I grew up, I started riding at a place called Halifax Ski and Snowboard Centre, which was probably 5 minutes from my parents' house in Halifax.
Is that the outdoor one?
It's the dry slope, so like the plastic slope. Yeah.
And it's literally like on a housing estate, I feel like. Is that right?
No, it's actually on the top of a hill in Halifax, and it's quite secluded and very open, and there's just fields and sheep and cows surrounding it.
Okay.
It's very in the countryside, and it was a really nice place. And I started snowboarding at the age of 7, and I kind of was hooked from day one. Really, that's all I wanted to do, and until I was 15, I pretty much rode there 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Like every day after school. I didn't want to do anything else. I wasn't even bothered about my GCSEs. I was like, fuck that. I'm just going to snowboard for the rest of my life, not knowing that I would end up where I've ended up. It was kind of just taking that risk and just following my passions. And it kind of led me down this path of, doing all right for myself for a person from the UK where there's no mountains.
Yeah.
And just kind of snowball effect, and
Nice.
I ended up competing all around the world. I got selected for Team GB at 15 years old, and then started competing internationally, and they just went from there.
I feel like me and Dave are going to be annoying whilst you talk, because I need a lot of things clarifying. Are you the same, Davey, right?
I'm the same. I think
that's fine.
Yeah, let's just be brutally honest here as well. Like, we're coming into this, me especially. I don't know about you, Ollie. You can write everything I know about snowboarding on like a piece of rice. Like, I really don't know anything about it. Your first biking experience is... yeah, basically we've done no research, we're just coming into this swinging. But your first biking experience is kind of the same as my first and only snowboarding experience, which was Big Bear in California. A few of the people that I was living with at the time loved to go snowboarding. They're like, yeah, come along, blah blah blah. So I borrowed some kit off them. My memory's pretty patchy on this, so it's quite a long time ago. So we get to Big Bear. I buy this dodgy lift ticket off some guy outside who's like, sold it me for $20 or something when it should have been $100. So I did that. Then it didn't work going into the turnstile thing to get onto the slope. So the other guys just like fucked off, got on the lift and stuff. So I think, being the true northerner, I think I somehow snuck into the sort of like the place, and then proceeded to just walk up the hill. I was like, well, I'll just walk up because I don't really know what I'm doing anyway. So I'll just walk up.
Oh my God.
So I walked up Big Bear. I remember it clear as day. I walked up Big Bear, I got to the top. There's nobody really around. I've got this snowboard, these boots on that I don't know. I literally don't even know really how to click into it or whatever you do. And then I just walked back down. I was like, well, I'm not going to do this. It's silly. Like, I'm up here now. For some reason, I thought it'd be... For some reason, I thought I'd get on. I know. For some reason, I got up there and I thought, it can't be that hard. Like, I'll just get on and I'll just make my way to the bottom. But, yeah, again, my memory's pretty patchy on this. Yeah, no doubt.
It's a violation to walk up there and walk down.
Yeah, mate, no doubt. I don't think I even sat on the board to come down. I literally just, walked back down. So that's my only snowboarding experience. I've got a lot of friends who are skiers and stuff like that and love snowboarding, but I'm a full novice, fully green.
I have my first annoying question. You say dry ski slope. There are different types, right?
Yeah, there's a few different types.
So what you grew up and learnt on, because you learnt on dry slope, what was that like? Is that the one with all the holes in?
No, it's not that one.
Okay.
Actually, I did my lesson on that one. It's called Dendex. It's got it's horrible because if you fall on it, your hand can go underneath and break your wrists generally, and fingers as well. And that was the one I learnt on. But then the main slope was it was called Snowflex, which was a little bit more forgiving. There wasn't the holes, and it's kind of like, think of it as like a toothbrush, really. It's just bristles.
Yeah, like AstroTurf, is it?
And yeah, not quite astro. Like it's like plastic, like fine plastic bristles that stick up, and there's like little sprinkler systems in there, and it just squirts water and mist, and then it when it's wet, it's quicker. Obviously, when it's dry, it's pretty useless. To be fair, it's on like a hot summer's day. It's really hard to ride it because it's really dry in certain places. So the best kind of conditions to ride Snowflex or any dry slope for that matter, is when it's raining.
Still winter.
So so like this time of year was perfect. Like the damp conditions was like the best. and no wind, because it was really exposed up to the top of Halifax, so it was like really windy up there, like some nights, and it was just kind of a no-go. But we'd get the rails out and snowboard on the rails and not ride the jump because the wind affected the jump, and just kind of went with it, man. It was like all we had. It wasn't the biggest slope, it wasn't the best, but it got me to where I am today, so I'm really thankful for it, you know.
Yeah. I think it's interesting as well when obviously Ollie and I spoke before we started recording this, and you know, one of the first things you want to know is like, how does a guy from the UK become a professional snowboarder? Like I know it's probably a bit of a common question for you, but when you put it like that like, you know, you had one literally down the road from your house, 5 minutes away, you can kind of see how all those hours of doing it stack up to becoming what you ended up becoming.
No, definitely. Like I was, you know, very fortunate to have somewhere that was close and local, and my parents were really supportive of it. Like there was a really good scene there as well, so my parents could drop me off, and there was like a good crew of people there that was always looking out for me and stuff, and because they couldn't be there all the time, you know, and I wanted to be there every single night, and and I rode there for like 3 hours every night, 6 days a week, and just absolutely loved it, filming with my buddies. And the whole where I am today was never the plan. Like when I started snowboarding, it wasn't for that. It wasn't to become professional. It wasn't to go to the Olympics. That was never on my mind, or even to compete. I just loved snowboarding. I watched it on TV, watched videos, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like that, and I kind of just chased it, and ended up on this path of competing, which you know, back when I would say when I was younger, I probably enjoyed it way more than I do now. But it's it's been a crazy journey, really. It's like 22 years maybe, or something.
That's mad.
Snowboarding.
Crazy.
And snowboarding's changed and a lot since then, like in terms of kit, tricks and stuff like that. I mean, it's always changing every winter, like new bigger tricks get done, which is hard to keep up with these 16-year-olds nowadays. But yeah, man, it's a good laugh, and I absolutely love doing it. And the reason why I got into biking in the first place was because I needed that adrenaline hit when I was kind of it was in the off season, like summertime. I wasn't snowboarding as much. Like I was only snowboarding once a week because the local place for me down here is Hemel Hempstead, the snow centre, and it's only got a freestyle night there's jumps and rails once a week. So I needed something to fill the gap where I wanted to, like, you know, get the adrenaline going, and mountain biking was the thing I chose, and absolutely hooked. I love that now just as much as I love snowboarding, you know.
Well, that's rad. That's well cool. Hey, do you remember, sorry to go back to it, it's just annoying me.
Yeah.
Because I've got it in my head. Do you remember the first time you went on actual snow? And had you already learnt to snowboard on, like, synthetic, not synthetic snow, but like, so you already knew what you were doing, and then you went on actual snow?
Yeah, so this is so I kind of was, I was snowboarding from 7, and I think the first trip away was when I was 10.
Yeah, so you're 3 years
on the mountain.
Yeah,
and it was in Kitzbühel, and I remember just being so overwhelmed of how big it was and how much area I could snowboard, and the lifts and the choices I had was mental. I even lost my parents because I was so excited. I was like, fuck yeah, like I'm literally just snowboarding all over.
I can only imagine. Yeah, the sensation must have been so different though. Well, not different, but the same. But like,
yeah, it was unbelievable. And I was like, oh, chairlift. What the heck is a chairlift? Because I was only used to having a pommer lift, which is like, you know what I mean, button. like a button toe or whatever. And then there's a chairlift there, and I was like, oh my god, you can sit down and just go up the lift. How amazing is this? So it got way more exciting from 10 years old, that's for sure.
Wow. Were your family already into snowboarding and stuff? Like, are your parents snowboarders?
Yeah, we did it all to, like, kind of, we started all to, well, they started after me, but basically we all got into it. And then my sister was snowboarding as well, and then she did it for quite a while. Like when she was younger, she was sponsored by Roxy, and like she had, you know, she was pretty good, and then she went down the career route of doing health and safety and stuff like that. And then my cousin is still a professional snowboarder, and she's done the Olympics as well, and it's kind of ran in the family really. Wow. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Wow. I think, okay, this is a question that I think would normally come towards the end, but I think it's a good time to probably pitch it. So,
yeah,
do you think it's nature or nurture? Because it sounds like, I don't know, that UK snow.
I'd say, I wouldn't say nurture. I'd say nature. No, I don't know.
Would you? No, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Is it are you? I don't know. How do you explain this, Ollie? Is it nature or nurture means sort of like, are you naturally good at something, or have you been? It's your it's nurtured, as in you've done. You've done the you've done like the 10,000 hours. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's completely didn't know what you were.
Yeah, it wasn't. I framed it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's hard because it was so long ago, but I do remember it took me a while to like actually learn how to snowboard. Like I wasn't giving up. Like it didn't come natural at first. Like, but it was only till like, I don't know, you know when you do your like driving test or whatever, but you like pass your test, and it's not really till after then you learn properly, right?
Yeah.
So it was like as soon as I kind of was passed off my lessons, I got onto the main stuff and I felt free. Like I felt free to like learn my own style, learn my own way of doing it. And yeah, it was from then on that the drive to just keep getting better. And then I was competing from like kind of British Championship events, and I was winning those in the senior category, because even if you were a kid, you could still qualify to ride against the seniors.
Okay.
Like into finals, like there was an overall category which everybody could get into.
This is slope style, right? Just to make it
this
clear.
Is jumps, yeah, slope style, jumps and rails.
Okay.
And then I was from even like 8 or 9 years old, I was started winning those. So I'd only been snowboarding like a couple of years, and I was already winning like British Championship medals.
Right.
And I think from then on, I was like, okay, maybe this is going somewhere, but like, not still just having loads of fun.
Yeah,
I was a kid. Like,
what did a run look like then? What was a big hitter on your run that would win then?
Like a 720.
Yeah.
So 720 was like kind of back then what it kind of was going, and now it's like 1620s and 1800s.
I mean, like, whilst you talk about it, for me watching as a mountain biker, I can't picture how you know where you are. I just can't. I can do a 360. I can do a 720. A 720 to me, pretty uncontrollable for me. The amount of spinning is much too much.
I can imagine on a bike though. That's a lot there to get round.
Yeah. So if you're and then once you're corked, you've added another dimension. How I sound like someone who asks me, and I get annoyed for asking me the question. You know what I mean? I can like hear.
No, ask away.
Yeah, I can hear the Joey in my voice, but when I watch it, I just can't understand how it's so gymnastic. The tricks that you guys do, they're so like 3-dimensional almost. I mean, Regatkin kind of does bring a bit of that to bike riding. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Nicola Regatkin.
Yeah, but I think I'm pretty much
His like cash rolls and whatever tornadoes. I can't even remember what they're called. They're just they're front axis corked spins.
So he's kind of going in and dipping forwards, right? And then it comes out of it flat and then goes into it again.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to a snowboard spin or a snowboard cork. Or I don't quite know how you say it, but I can't picture how you know where you are.
Yeah, it's actually quite natural, like to do it corked, because it's actually easier to land it as well. So if you like, it's worse because you are going upside down, and that's more scary of an option. But the actual cork bit really helps, because at 540 you come out at a flat, like you come out flat, and then you go into the next one, and then you come out flat again, and then you go again. You know, so it's like you're doing it. So you're doing it like 3 times. But once you take off and initiate that trick from the beginning, you're in it. There's no way out of it, like other than ejecting, and that hopefully you don't die and land on your head or something.
So it's done on the lip.
it's all done on the takeoff. Once you commit, you're going. Like, as once you give it that all, I'm guessing it's the same with biking. It's like you can't the trick. I don't know if you can change other than the grab. It's very hard to change a trick when you've got nothing to push off, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to push off air, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah, I guess you can make the shape bigger or smaller, and like you so if it's smaller, you speed it up, and bigger, yeah.
Yeah, but like even to get that speed and rotation as quickly as you can, that comes from the takeoff, because you're using your edge to generate that spin as much as you can, and it's quite crazy because naturally I don't think about it riding in. I think about, this run I'm just going to do a triple cork 1440. I'm not actually thinking about how much I need to rip that. It's all in me, that like inside me, that I don't know, it's a hard thing to explain, but over the years of obviously riding, it becomes very natural, and you gauging your speed becomes very natural. Like, you're like, this is a 22-meter jump, like I know the speed for that, like generally just by feel.
It's just so many spins. I feel like I'd shit myself. 1440. How many spins is that? How many do you even know? You don't even know yourself.
Yeah, it's 4.
He did know. Well done.
Done. But now it's a 1440 is not even going to win you a contest now.
Right.
So it's like so I'm working on like this winter 1620s and 1800s, and possibly having to go over 4 times, which I don't really want to do that. But so I'm going to try and do it flat, or like at least the first part of it flat, and change it into like 2 dips. So it's like, it's really confusing.
What, dips?
But it's one word. Yeah, so like you dip and then dip again, and then but I don't want to do it 4 times because it's hard enough knowing where you are when you do it 3 times. So I don't even know how it's going to be when you do it 4 times.
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous. I feel like it's like you're in a washing machine.
So when you're saying dip, how would you explain the dip?
A dip is like off-axis cork. It's like a cork. But it's another word.
So you're spinning as hard as you can off the edge, and then the dip is it's not a flip as such.
No, it's not a flip. It's just off-axis. It's not a full flip. It's just like slightly off-axis from flat. So it's like your board's like that, not that.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it's a physical movement of your body, though, right? As well. It's a physical.
Yeah. Your body goes as well. Your body kind of, so it's quite hard to explain, and then obviously different grabs change the axis of different tricks, and it all gets pretty crazy.
Yeah. So how do you go about obviously you're going to probably say spin a bit more, but how do you go about like starting? You say you've got these on your to-do list this winter. How do you go about sort of learning them? So obviously you've got I can't even do my 360 times table, so I can't do the.
Well,
I can do 720.
I guess 16s are like 4.5. So you're going to be taking off regular and landing switch. So the opposite. So backwards, I guess, if you in bike terms. Yeah. And then but the whole trick changes just because you're adding that 180. The way you take off, it's going to be completely different to if you want to land normal, like how you initiate that trick, because you're going to need to be on a slightly different axis coming into the landing as you would if you were coming in normal. You need to be totally different. So it's like kind of trial and error. Like, I'm going to try what I think might work, and if it doesn't work and I deck myself on the floor, then obviously I'm doing something wrong and I need to go back to the drawing board and like think of how to do this. But I'm quite visual, so there's already this trick's been done quite a few times. So it's like I go and watch someone else do it, and then I'm like, okay, that's how you do it, and then give it a whirl.
What does that progression look like? I guess again, if we relate it to biking terms, you've got foam pits, airbags, resi ramps.
Yeah.
What's it look like for a snowboarder? And is it different in different parts of the world? Have they got like different things?
Yeah. So airbags are used quite a lot, and like there's one in Austria called Banger Park, it's really good. Like, it's a huge jump and it's an airbag, but the problem is with airbags, it's really easy to get injured on them, like more so than it is sometimes on snow. Than to do, like, you just have to have the balls to just give it a whirl and hope that it comes out all right. But airbags, I've like done my knee on airbags, I've done my ankles, I've hurt myself way more on airbags than I have just trying these tricks anyway. So I've sacked them off completely, and I'm just like, well, just try it on snow. On like end of season when it's slushy or something and the snow's softer, because at least then you don't get stuck, because the airbags can like
grip.
You can get stuck and it rips you like in ways that, because you can't control it. Like when you land, it's not that you just go where the airbag takes you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of
that. I'm not a fan either.
We've seen you on one. Jesus.
Did you ever go on Matt's airbag?
Yeah, like, I went off the side of the thing. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You went off the side, and what, like kind of off
the edge
off the
of
side
it.
of the jump?
Yeah, it's my fault entirely, but I think I'll just stick to. I love that noise.
We can't go. Man, this is meant to be an ad read. It's not. If you want to be this cool, right, then you do.
Right, it's that time in the episode where we announce a winner. We give away so much stuff. We're quite kind people, actually, aren't we?
Yeah, man, we're giving away stuff left, right and centre at the moment. From pop through to £400 worth of recovery equipment. We're doing it all.
It's incredible. The Fix 2.0 we're giving away. It was a random act of kindness. Last week's show, I have the winner here. We did this on random selection, so
yep.
I'm going to read it out.
Thank you to everyone as well. Yeah, thank you to everyone for the nominations, especially after my ear beating. You guys came through, and we got a bunch of really lovely ones. And
it's so nice reading through them.
There is some lovely ones, but this one we think is going to help someone. So, Ollie, over to you.
This is from Remain, PLVT, whatever. I would like to nominate my riding partner, lovely wife, partner in crime, and overall badass, Camille Bernard. She works as a nurse and is always sore and has tense muscles, lower back, neck, calves, and whatever other parts of the body that get used and abused with this physically demanding job. Give this girl a break.
There you Brilliant. Go, Camille.
Thanks, Camille.
That's some extra brownie points right there. It's Riley, isn't it? Or something? Yeah.
Remain,
so, yeah. Remain. So there we go. Big up, well done. Shoot into the DMs. We will hook you up with a Compex Fix 2.0. But there are a lot of comments. Not everyone could win.
I wish they could.
I wish they could as well. But
in a way they can.
In a way they can. Like, this is legit. We're coming through. Compex have got a massive Black Friday event on, right? And there's a little pro tip that we're going to share in that they kind of can't turn off the Ride Companion discount code. So, if you go onto compex.com right now, you're going to see all of the massive Black Friday price reductions on some of our favourite products. For example, the Fix 2.0 is in there, man. It's discounted. Heavy discount. I use this thing all the time. Pre-ride, post-ride. I'm always on it. Just at night, we don't have a TV anymore, so I'll just sit and I'll just roll things out and just make myself feel better, to be honest with you. And I've also, it's a nice little product, this one. I've only had this one not very long. This is they call it a molecule, and it's a ball, rock hard. Obviously, people have always done this thing of rolling out muscles, right, on like a cricket ball or something like that. That's basically what this is. Super hard, but it also vibrates, which is really nice. So again, I'll use this like on the calf, and I'll do that, and I'll iron out little.
So it's like a massage ball.
Massage ball, and I'll also sometimes just turn it on and roll it around myself, like into your neck. You get into all those little creases and stuff. It's really good, man.
That's in the sale as well, yeah.
It's in the sale as well. Now, we don't know what the prices are going to be because we don't want to be putting out fake news and saying it's going to be this price, that price. But anyway, whatever price you see, add the Ride Companion discount code, and it's going to knock another 10% off. That's pretty insane, to be honest. So hopefully it's going to help people out. Compex.com. Check out the Black Friday sale. It runs from the 21st through to the 28th. So you've got 7 days to get in there. If maybe there's not something that you want, share it with your friends, your riding partners. Tell them to input that code, the Ride Companion. It's going to get you an extra 10% off. Anything.
What is that code again?
The Ride Companion. All in capitals. Use that code. Come on. That Christmas shopping. Get on there. Get someone a nice bit of a recovery equipment. It's coming into winter. You want to make sure your muscles are all warm and ready to go before you go out. You get in, boom, little bit of a massage for yourself, bit of self-care. Beautiful, mate.
What a hookup.
Love it.
Thanks,
what a hookup.
Compex.
Thank you, Compex.
I'm not going for the 16s, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going for the 16s.
I feel like, do you not feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in that age category now where airbags weren't a thing when I was trying tricks.
Yeah.
And now when I'm like, oh, well, to try a trick on an airbag just feels really alien to me. Like, I'll just do it on a jump.
Do you know,
with snow.
it's so true. I watch people, I watch people how they spin, and I know if someone's spun on a resi or into a foam pit or in a park because they're just dialed. And then you watch, like, if you ride like dirt jumps, for instance. I don't know. Have you ever been to dirt jumps?
I've tried the only jumps I've tried are the ones I think they're in near Sheer. Jack took me, and it was like a row of, I think there was 4 or 5 of them. They weren't that big, but I like, there's like a wall, like there's like a wall of dirt on the right side. Do you know which ones I mean? It's like in a forest.
Maybe,
and there's like a smaller one in the first, and then they kind of get bigger towards the end. And I think I got to the third one and nailed myself into the side of the wall. Like, I overshot it because I don't know how to, like.
Yeah, Jack's taking you on some rides, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack's just dropping you in at the deep end, just like, you'll be all right. You need to repay a favour, dude. Take Jack snowboarding and be like, right, dude, you just need to drop in here. You're good.
We do.
Just dip 4 times.
We do always laugh about it. Just dip 4 times. We do always laugh about it whenever we go. So, like, I always mentioned it to him. I was like, do you remember that first time I rode a bike with you and you took me down Bitch Hill? I'll never he was just like off, and I was just like scrambling on my feet trying to stay on the bike. I absolutely shitting myself. And honestly, it was oh gosh, it was so fun and so exciting to learn something new, and now I'm obviously in the comfortable place where I'm pretty comfortable going down anything around Pitch Hill or Pease Lake now. But jumps wise, like not a chance. Like them ones in Winterfold, like no way. Like I couldn't do it.
Do you know, it's really refreshing talking to you about it, because I can't say, not to make this about me, but I can't say I'm good at harnessing beginner mentality. You know, you're someone who's mastered their art, their craft, and yet you're willing to just learn a new thing. And I've lost that over the years.
Have you?
Ah, really?
No, I really have. Yeah, with a sport, I've lost it. I just think, well, I could try that, but I'll just fucking stick to the one that you know what I mean? I know how to do this one.
Yeah. But I think if you're around, like the thing is with biking as well, I feel like up there, it's like where this area, it's like there's a really good atmosphere, and there's lots of people, and there's a good scene, you know, and that reminds me of what snowboarding was like when I first started. So it brings back a lot of memories for me, just in a slightly different way. I'm just riding a bike on 2 wheels, but it's wicked fun getting to ride with people that are obviously so much better than me, but it makes me progress like way more because I'm having to keep up. I'm having I love that focus, I just loving learning something new. And as I say, you know, I still have that with snowboarding now, but it's just nice to have that with something else as well. And obviously getting to ride with, you know, people like you and Jack, and like, the thing is, you meet loads of different people up there, right? When you're out on the rides, like, and you just kind of, everybody gets on, and we all, you know, do runs together, and it's amazing. I always go to the back in the summer. That's annoying because it just means I can't fucking see anything.
Dude, you're good. You from when I first met you to the last time, from when I first rode with you to the last time, you're really, like, it doesn't surprise me that you're going to get good. You know what I mean? I just wish I had that. That's what I mean. I think it's so cool.
I think though, like Ollie, if you got all of a sudden you plonked somewhere with an ocean, you'd be like, actually, you know, I'm here. I'm going to like learn to surf, or maybe you're in the
exactly. I think if it's on your doorstep, if it's on your doorstep, you're more willing to give it a go. Like the thing is with snowboarding, you're not likely to give it a go because it's an hour from where we live up to Hemel Hempstead, and that's on a good run, you know. And that's the thing, if you're over an hour away to go snowboard, you have to be pretty dedicated to go, like, right, like. But if it's like 5 minutes, you can just go out your house and go for a ride on the bike, like, that's why I'm not saying that I wouldn't have done it anyway, but it's because it's like on my doorstep.
Yeah.
That it's, and obviously knowing you guys and Jack and everybody and knowing a good crew that I can go ride with and just call up at any point and be like, you're free for a ride. Normally someone is, and you just go.
I'd draw comparisons as well, in a way, to you being part of a scene built around a dry slope, kind of similar in the Surrey Hills. It's like, it's not really a surprise that you've managed to master something, because it's just repetition, and like, we've not got the hills are lovely, but they're not really that big. They're just you just repeat shit until you're good at it, and it's kind of Would you say that's kind of maybe where you came from?
It does remind me a lot, because obviously the runs here on a bike are probably not. They're not going to be nowhere near as long as they are in the mountains, but it does replicate a lot to riding dry slope, because it was short. It wasn't like the longest run, and you go through the mountains and it's like, wow. And it must be like that on a bike, like I can only imagine what it's like going to the mountains. But you take the gondola up and it's like, what, half an hour ride down? It must be quite a long ride down, and you go up to Bit Chill, it's 2 minutes and done. And then you got that like struggle back to the top, which that's the only bit of biking I hate, is pedaling up hills. The only bit. But and I actually quite like it when Rob Warner's around, because he's like, I'll get the e-bike out, and you're like, I'll get Jack, can I have an e-bike? Just to email him, like, I need an e-bike. Rob's about.
It is, like you said there, Ollie, it is quite similar. Like, you grew up riding the 20-second downhills.
Yeah, exactly.
You're out there doing whatever 20-second downhills on a snowboard. It's similar. When did the snowboarding thing start to get like really serious for you? Like, where was that turning point? At what age?
I guess when I started making money from it. I mean, I was 15 years old and I signed my first contract with Red Bull, Quicksilver, and I think Oakley. And then
you didn't really skip. You skipped sort of the smaller brands, didn't you? There, you sort of gone straight in.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because
sponsorship.
It was weird because I just started literally on a Nike 6.0 as well for the trade. Like, I was part of that like small group. In fact, what's his name? I feel so bad that I don't know it. He was on the Nike 6.0 team from very young. Josh Bryceland.
Yeah, I was on the team then as well. We were teammates.
No way. Yeah. We weren't. Were we?
Yeah, I was on the team when Josh was on. I was on. Yeah.
So we must have met.
I have no idea. I don't remember. I got invited to Nike Town.
Did you go on that like downhill mountain biking trip?
No.
In Wales.
No.
I think, and Josh was on it, and then Steve Pete was teaching us.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't get invited to that
one. That was actually, tell a lie.
Ollie, are you sure you're on the team?
Tell a lie. That's actually when I first went on a bike. Must have been, but then obviously never did it since. But like, so that was kind of, that program was on that from very young, so 15, and then I was kind of doing that. I had an agent, and he kind of was sorting everything out, and it got quite serious, and then I was competing all around the world. But it went from like, one day I was riding dry slope in Halifax, to the next minute I'm on fucking Red Bull and Quicksilver and all these brands, and like, shit, I'm like earning money, and I had no idea how much this money even was, because I was still at my parents. I'm like, oh, like, what's this amount of money? Like, I had no idea.
You have no concept, do you? Yeah.
No concept whatsoever. And then the journey just begins, and I go to Hintertux. It was my first Team GB like practice session where riding with the team, and I was like, oh god, this is all like really serious. I'm used to riding dry slope with my mate and filming with shitty video cameras and uploading to Vimeo or YouTube like what we've been up to, but this was like another level. And there was like loads of contests, and just kind of went from there. And then I kind of left Red Bull for Nike, which was a sore subject at the time, because I mean they hated it. I think that obviously our Nike SB, kind of Nike 6.0 led into Nike SB, and that was like that was like big for me. That was like made kind of my whole career was riding for that team for 4 years, until Nike SB was no longer in snowboarding and they dropped out, which was a shame. Because after the last year of my contract, I was riding for Nike, but there was no team manager. There was nothing there. You know, it was like the Instagram account got shut down. Like everything.
No.
So I was basically getting paid, but I had to ride for Nike. I couldn't get out of it. So I was like riding for a brand that I was like not getting any shout outs from, not getting promotion from, and it was amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, it set me up for life riding for Nike, but like that last year was pretty dismal, if I'm going to be honest. Really? But and I lost the thing is, I lost a lot of sponsors from that deal because I had to go to Nike and drop everywhere, drop Oakley, drop Red Bull, drop all those other little brands.
So it was a full head to toe, no other logos on you.
Nothing, because Nike wanted the helmet, but they paid really well, and obviously they had the goggles and stuff and the boots and everything was head to toe except from snowboards, which I was on Salomon at the time, and it was amazing. Obviously those Nike days will no longer be, but it's good times, and there's some pretty good memories if I can remember some wild stuff going down on those those years.
So how old were you when you let's say when you switched to full Nike?
I was like 17, 18.
Okay, so
how old are you now?
Young now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 29 now.
There you go.
Yeah. So
like 8 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, and the problem is now is so it's a while back, but it was just different. Like we were going to X Games and they were flying us in helicopters to the X Games. Like the board bags were going in the van, and it was just like totally more rock star like back then, like that kind of life. And I had just going with it. I was like, yeah, fuck it, this sounds good. Just no concept of any of this like at all. Just kind of staying in big houses like it was normal.
How do you think it's changed then? Why was it bigger then? And because it kind of has a kind of there's parallels in mountain biking. Obviously, it's gone up and down, and when
things go up and down, I guess. But snowboarding really has. It's weird to say it, but it's really changed since slopestyle and big air went into the Olympics.
Interesting.
Like, you see, the TTR World Snowboard Tour was no longer. Like that was like there's all the competitions are now, the major competitions are all linked into FIS, which is like a ski federation essentially. Like It sucks. And when I was when I was with Nike, it was when I was first competing at the Olympics. I was 18 in Sochi, and I was really reluctant to do it. There was a lot of hate towards slopestyle and big air being in the Olympics, and I was kind of jumping on that bandwagon where I was like with everybody else, like, nah, I'm not going. Like,
was it hate from the snowboard community?
Yeah, hate from the snowboard community.
As in like it sold out a little bit or something?
Yeah, and there was like a lot of negatives to it and stuff, like saying, like this is bad for snowboarding and it's not good, and you're just going to end up with teams and coaches and everybody now just. And it's true, like in a way, everybody now just rides with their team and nobody jams with each other anymore. And it's like got really serious. And one of the reasons why I hate doing all that shit now is because it is like that. Like when I was with Nike, we were a global team. We all hung out together. We rode together. We traveled together. And now it's travel with a select few from your own country. But I feel like it's really hard now to connect in with other countries because they're all in their teams, and like they live together and stay together and travel together. And it's definitely changed, and it's more corporate now. There's like corporate sponsors, and like that's like it's kind of took a hit on the smaller brands or the more snowboard core brands,
like Nike,
like Nike. But you see what I mean? They came into it,
100%.
Of the Olympics. Like it started as Nike 6.0, but like a lot of
it's super interesting.
So they did that with a few sports though, didn't they? They came in sort of like
and went out.
hung around for a few
as well, right?
Yeah, they did it with motocross too. Like they came in, they made a boot for a few select riders like James Stewart, Ryan Dungey. I guess in a way they did it with mountain biking. They had a few select people, and then they seemed to come in, test the waters.
Yeah, it was weird. Bounce. It was really good. Yeah, because it was only like, you'd think for a big brand like that, they'd stick around for longer than 4 years, you know? Like, it just seemed totally odd. And the amount of money they were pumping into it, like, it's crazy. And no, you know, like, why flyers? Like, the snowboarding's not, like, it's not huge. It's not going to make you massive returns like golf would. Why are you flying us in helicopters when, you know, your profit margins are probably not going to be able to cover that on the kit, you know? Like, I just, like, it baffles me now when I look back at it. But
what a cool time to have been involved in, though. It sounds well good.
It was really, it was well good, and the trips were insane, mate. Like, it was so funny. Like, one of my all-time favorites was in like Tokyo, and then it was like downtown in Shibuya, and like we had this huge. It was called Tokyo Rail Days. So it was like a rail jam competition. Like, it's like thousands of fans. Like, it was crazy, and I'm 18 at the time, and like my strong point in snowboarding is rails, so that's always been my stronger point than jumping. So I was like, went into it feeling really good. I like no expectations really, and then I make finals, and I'm like, you know, when you just know, like you're riding so good, like even tricks you've never even tried, you're just landing them. Like, you're in such a good positive mindset that everything's just working well that day. And then I ended up winning, and that was amazing. And it was like a 20 grand. It was like a 20 grand check at 18. Like, dude, unbelievable, mate.
In
like,
Japan,
I was like,
what is life?
In Japan, like there was like umbrella girls. It was honestly, it was amazing. I was like, oh my god, I'm loving this. This is unreal.
The best job ever.
This is the best job ever. Like, I've just come from Halifax. Like, I'm in Tokyo, and I'm like, what is going on? And then. And then we get to the party. The party's the best bit, mate, because like the Red Bull parties were awesome, and there was like some really good looking like Red Bull girls, and I was like, like maybe I should try. I probably was like an 18-year-old looking like a fucking 12-year-old, but I was like, I'm gonna try anyway. And then I like get chatting, couldn't speak a fucking word of English. I'm like, oh great, like oh no, and then like very minimal. And then I ended up like getting close, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get a kiss or something. And then I ended up like going to the toilet. I was like, oh, I'll go to the toilet, I'll be back in a bit. Not knowing that one of the other guys went and told her that I had some kind of STD and to stay away.
Who is that? Who does that?
Exactly. Who
Come
does
on,
that?
man.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I was so excited. I mean, I've only just lost my virginity like last year. I've come back like the year before, so I was like a rabbit. Like, I just went.
Just ready to play nervous in some toilets in Tokyo.
What a block!
So what a block.
Yeah.
Anyways, he didn't tell me till the next morning. Anyway, and it was quite funny. But it was just such a wild experience. And then the next bit, it was like collecting this $20,000 in cash the next morning that I just won. And I go and get it, and it's in a briefcase, and it's just cash. So I'm like, I no concept of how much that is in pounds. I just chuck it in my rucksack. Didn't even declare it at customs on the way home because I'm like 18. Just shoved it on, like put it in like the locker, you know, like the above the plane where you sat. I just chucked it in there, like didn't even care about it. Went to the toilet, wasn't even bothered.
That must be weird looking back.
So weird, man. So weird looking back. And it was good times. Good.
Did you get it through customs?
Well, I didn't. I'm just an 18-year-old kid looking like a scumbag, like in probably
just cruising like I was 20k in a backpack.
It's sick, isn't it?
Still paying tax on it, like, but yeah.
All right.
We got a few people from HMRC. Yeah, we got a few HMRC listening, actually. Yeah, shout out to the HMRC.
Shout out.
Doing a fine job out there.
Yeah, brilliant job. Thanks.
It's more than 7 years ago now, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, don't you just love that? The HMRC letter lands through the post. I just love it. I can't wait to read it.
Oh dear.
Mate.
Wow.
But
okay.
yeah,
one thing we did
times.
gloss over, man, and I think it'd be interesting to hear more about it, was the switch from Red Bull. I think that is a massive thing for an athlete to do, isn't it? And I think even, well, in our circles, especially mountain biking, someone comes off Red Bull, it's huge news. People are speculating, why have they done it? All this sort of stuff. So how did that? Obviously, when you signed, that must have been like massive, and oh my god, like this is it. And then you
actually, to be honest, mate, I actually hated it. I hated wearing that helmet. It was like the worst, ugliest looking helmet ever, wasn't it? Like, come on, let's be honest. Like, I'm not hating on Red Bull or anything, but like wearing that helmet, I just felt like such a twat.
Wow, that's
like,
we had some honesty here. I like this.
I guess it is. Okay, I'm not going to say about the helmet and how they look, but it is a target in it. Like once that thing's on,
target, mate.
It's everyone's expected.
And the pressure, like you go to like, and back then there was less Red Bull athletes, and I mean there was only a couple of us, and I just turn up to everywhere, and you're just like eyes on you constantly. You're like literally just and I hated that. I'm like a guy who likes to wear black, who's just like does like to just not be standing out. Like I don't like to stand out, and I think it really put a lot of pressure on me. So as soon as that kind of deal came in, where it was like, I've done it now. I've been on Red Bull for a couple of years. Like, it's been cool. The experience has been amazing. The team manager that I signed with at Red Bull from the beginning left, and I didn't get on with the next guy, and it was just the right time to go. And I don't think there was any speculation or anything. It just kind of it was just kind of naturally ended, and it was a way to just go off to Nike. And the Nike team manager was one who really looked after me and really supported me and stuff from a young age, and it just fitted, and it just all happened, and it was pretty surreal, to be honest. Like flying out to Amsterdam, went out to the headquarters, Nike headquarters in Oregon, and the whole thing was amazing, signing the contract and stuff, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And again, sorry to keep going back, but I think there's a few interesting things that you said, right? And I also love the fact that you all of a sudden landed these massive deals. So what, obviously that's huge for anyone, but like your parents and stuff, what did they think? All of a sudden you've started going to this dry ski slope for a bit, and then all of a sudden, in not a lot of space of time really, you're signing with Oakley, Red Bull, etc. Do you remember how that all happened? Like, when do you decide to get an agent? How do you trust someone? All that sort of stuff.
I've had some bad runnings with agents, if I'm honest. Like, I've just never got on with any of them. Like, the first agent I had worked for, I don't know if you heard of Oregon agency. Yeah, they're like an agency in the US, and I signed with them, but the guy was so he was lovely, but we just didn't, when you just don't work well together, and it just didn't work, and then left, and then obviously went, and that was like really heated. I felt like every time I'm with an agent, I feel like the ending's always awful. Like, they want to try and claw out as much money from you as possible. It's like a failed divorce, or like a failed marriage. Like, if things end badly, it doesn't go the right way, and I've had that twice. So now I'm like, signing with any agent. So
you do it yourself now, yeah?
I just do everything myself, mate. It's way easier, and I make more money.
Yeah.
So to our listeners that don't know what an agency actually does, they seek out, and you can butt in when I get it wrong. They seek out sponsorship or deals for you, and then they take a percentage, right? So an agent, I would happily sign to an agent for out of industry for me, because out of industry is like a world I don't really understand. If I'm going to get I don't know, a car sponsor or something like that, or a travel agency or something that I would never have any dealings with, an agent would be really useful. But they do take a big percentage, right? So
like 20%.
That's a lot of money, isn't it?
It is, and the thing is, it's at the end of the day, yes, obviously dealing with the contract and the sale or whatever, like the negotiation process, but it's not that hard. Like, pick up the phone, have a chat. Like, it's pretty easy, and like the thing is why like signing with an agent is I guess could be, like you said, good, because they have contacts and they've built relationships with people that you might not have necessarily built But as you go along through life and you get older, you kind of end up building those relationships with brands, and those people then move to another brand that, like, and so on. You meet new people. So like, it becomes to a point where when you're older, you don't really need it, because you become maybe wiser, because you've worked with agents before, that you kind of know how it all works and stuff. The only time the only way I'd work with someone now, and I do work with like one person, but not on official contract with him or anything. It's just kind of, if you get me something, mate, like, I'm happy for you to take a percentage. But obviously anything I currently have, not a chance, because the thing I've like in the past is when I switched from one agent to another agent, that other agent felt like he earned a cut, or like felt like he earned a cut from Nike. And I was like, well, how do you, like, now I look back and I'm like, I got screwed over, because I'm like, how, you didn't do that deal, so like, why should you get a cut of this deal when you didn't get it for me, and I'm managing it anyways, because it's one of, so, and it was things like that. Because I was young, I didn't question it, but now I'd obviously question it. And I think when you're younger and you're earning that kind of money, is people tend to like try and walk all over you, because
it's bad
at that
thinking
age,
back, isn't it? Yeah, it's gnarly, that.
Yeah, it is gnarly. And there's some people that I felt like I trusted back then, and now I'm like, don't even talk to them. Like, I'm not like, wouldn't, like, don't trust at all. And it's sad, really, because at the time you felt like you really could trust them, but now,
I think for me, Jamie, as well, like, as you've navigated life and stuff, I've always used this phrase that people buy off people, especially with, what I work in and stuff, and your network is your net worth and all that sort of stuff. Those like cliche things, but it's true, man. You know straight away if you vibe with someone or not. And
you
also,
do, yeah.
And you just, and it's such a small, like, cliquey industry, especially, again, in biking, that, you get to meet these people somewhere at a show or something like that. You make a relationship. If there's something there, you'll figure it out. And yeah, I think that whole thing of just working with the right people all the time it's huge, really. And you can spot it a mile. I feel like you can anyway. I think you get that gut feeling like, this is a snake. Like, this isn't the right move for me.
Exactly. No, you do, and it, as you become older and stuff, you notice those things and who you work best with, and it's definitely, nowadays I do things totally different, and I do it my own way. Like, I because if I don't, I'm not going to be happy, and the problem is, I'm not happy, I'm not snowboarding well, so I gotta like think of myself. It's really selfish to think like that, but it's not obviously a team sport. You're an individual, and you kind of got to do what's best for you. And if going snowboarding that day is not the best for you to do, then you don't go, and you don't have to feel pressured from anybody else. So you make sure that nowadays I surround myself with the right people. And often when I go away, I take one of my best buddies who's really good on the camera and filming, and like, I just feel like when I'm filming, I perform or do better stuff, because I have, like, I don't know if it's like this for you, Ollie, but when you're filming, you feel like your best comes out, like, because it's almost like the pressure's on, because it has to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but you get me. So and like, I don't know, like, I love looking back at footage as well, and kind of analysing it, and thinking, oh, maybe I could have been a bit better doing it like this, and then I'll go up the next day and do it differently. But obviously, it costs a lot to bring cameramen and filmers and stuff like that, doesn't it? And you need that support. And luckily, I've found that right support now, because there's not really many of us in the UK snowboarding still now that actually even earn a living out of it. They have, like, got other jobs and stuff and things like that. But
that's sad to hear, and that's changed fortunate since the Olympics, would you say, as a direct result, or is it
massively?
Okay,
massively.
So how does that work then? So Olympic committees or whatever, GB, fund a certain number of people, is that right?
Yes, so I'm not funded at all from Team GB. So I used to be, but because I took time off, and I had my daughter, I had a baby and stuff, and spent 2 years like not competing. Obviously that funding goes, understandably. Obviously now I'm back competing again and working towards potentially going to like the high level contests again. that there's just no support from them whatsoever. And I'm like, where is this even going? Because there's only a few of us even on the team, you know, like, and I know they're not getting much, so you wonder where it goes, right? And we've not even got an airbag set up. We're not put, like, the way the money's handled, the UK sport funding, I feel could have been handled in better ways to support up and coming snowboarders in this country. And without those facilities for those younger generations to ride on airbags and stuff, because it's not the same like it used to be, where you can rock up to a dry slope and do 720s, because the standard wasn't so far apart from the dry slope jump to people doing jumps in the mountains. Now it's like it's just too far away. Like you're not going to be able to do what I did now and make it. Like you need like way better facilities like airbags to even be up there with the best in the world now, and we don't have that, unfortunately. And it's not gonna, it's when people coming into snowboarding and they may be coming into it thinking they want to be professional and want to aim to that, they're obviously going to be put off straight away. Which is sad. Or you could be like me, who just wants to get into it and it might go somewhere. But unfortunately,
I've never really thought about it like that, though. That like a sport. How old slopestyle snowboarding?
Well, it was around when I started, and people were jumping and
but it was
doing
still relatively new. So it's like the sport sort of grows quite steadily. Then all of a sudden, all these new things like airbags and this, and then that, like you said, that gap becomes massive.
That gap becomes massive from the people who don't have mountains in their country, because obviously it's difficult. It's hard, and I just don't feel like they tried to get airbag facility, but I don't feel like they tried hard enough, and I just feel like it's a real shame because there's not really much potential coming up, as you know, I should say. And I feel for kids getting into it now. I'm like, damn, like you got your work cut out, and it's going to cost you a lot, because you're going to have to move to the mountains if you want to like make it, and that's sad. So I feel like the days of like the dry slope days was kind of being a professional snowboarder have sadly gone by, but. I think it's
this is
right place, right time.
I don't really know much of the details about this, right? So please forgive me. But I did the snowboard show a few weeks ago. It was at the NEC.
Yes.
Show,
yeah.
So I was there. I worked for an underwear brand called Saks, and so I was there. Yeah, I was there doing that. And there was a girl there. I think it's Maya Brooks. And Mia Brooks, sorry. So she seems to be, and again, a colleague of mine was telling me, they moved to the Alps, they lived in a caravan, just literally so that she can have an opportunity and a chance to try and make it. So
and she's the best. She's like 100%, like because of that and because of her dedication. She kind of like came into it she was very young, and she obviously had the opportunities of living close to a place and coming up through that. And
where was that?
She's I'm pretty sure it was Chill Factory. So it's like Manchester Chill Factory, and they're really good there. And she's just come up, and then she's obviously gone on lots of snow trips. I know her parents really well, and they lived out in a caravan with her in Lax, in the best place in Europe to ride kind of jumps and rails. And she has just gone from like the last 4 years, where she's actually grown and got stronger. She's just become probably if not one of the best female snowboarders in the world now. So it's not to say
she's
not
really
doable,
young as well, right? She's like 16 or something.
16. You just have to that's the kind of commitment you need to be now doing. And
the thing is that it's not just her commitment, is it? It's like the family's commitment. That's the thing. It's not like she can just go and just do a thing all day, family are at work. It's like you've upped everything, live in a caravan.
It's a big family commitment. And the thing is what I struggle with now is having a family, because I always see people, when you're in the mountains and stuff, and you're like, I just wish the Austrian snowboarders, they just nip down the mountain and they're home. They're back in their home. They're back, put their feet up on their own sofa, watch their own TV, and I'd love it to be like that. But it's just so expensive to move my whole family out to the mountains, and the sacrifice that is on my wife and daughter. and they would do it, like they would love to do it, but it's just the cost of that is so high, and yeah, it's kind of difficult. But it'd be like going out on my bike on Pitch Hill, and I come home and it'd be that fit. But I just wish it could be like that snowboarding. But luckily for me, like I'm going towards the last 4 years probably of competitive snowboarding of my career until I probably do something else with snowboarding, like filming backcountry or whatever. That it's okay because I can go on those trips where it's like 1 week, 2 weeks, come home, go again. And because of my experience and the trick, like it's not far for me to go from here to here. I don't have to spend as long in the mountain. It's weird. Right. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like I could go back on a snow. I haven't snowboarded for like 3 weeks, but I feel like if I go back to the mountains, I'd be pretty like 2 days in and I'm back. Doesn't take long.
I like that. I think that about bikes. I think because I get in my own head about it. I think, I fucking haven't ridden this. I haven't ridden this week or whatever. Sometimes,
or a big jump or whatever.
Yeah. Because maybe I haven't ridden my jump bike. Like actually, this happened today is the reason I'm saying it. So I haven't ridden my jump bike for a little while since for a little while, and I got back on it and I was like, but like you don't have like obviously it's different to change from like an e-bike to a jump bike or a mountain bike to a jump bike. But you don't have to, because you actually know how to do it, and you've already done it now. So it's already like downloaded in your head. So now you just have to go, and then you'll be able to do it. And then
and you've been doing it years.
Yeah. And it's so stupid because like I literally rolled in. The bike feels awful, A jump bike feels very small and twitchy and funny.
Yeah.
And then it was like the first jump, and then you're like, in the Matrix where he's like, I know Kung Fu. Do you know the bit I mean? Where he's like downloaded it. Yeah. It's just like that, like you're just fucking remembering, yeah. And then you're pulling up quite hard first run. I don't know, it's funny. It must be the same for you going back to the mountains, is what I meant.
No, exactly, and that definitely lots of similarities there for sure. And like the thing is, like it actually really stood out to me last winter. I hadn't competed for 2.5 years properly, and I'm like, right, I'm gonna get the team, enter myself into a contest again, like a European Cup contest, and I'm like, okay, cool, perfect. Like it's a premium contest, so like all the best riders are there in the world, and I'm like, right, okay, here we go. This is a good test, and it wasn't that I had the best tricks on the day because I was taking it pretty mellow. It's my first contest back, but I'm like, well, everybody seems to be falling over, so I'm just gonna do like a pretty chilled run and make it as stylish as possible. Add in a couple, 14 or 12, but I'm not going to go all out and try these triple 16s right now because, well, people are falling. So experience came in, and then I ended up on the podium, and I was like, oh, so wicked! Sick. Like congrats. First contest wicked, back. Yeah. I end up, like end of last season, end up back with. I'm like, fuck, like I've, but 10 years ago I would have been one of those kids that's just chucking, like try. But then I'm like, well.
That experience counts for something, though, doesn't it? Yeah, that experience does. It's like autopilot. Like when you think actually how long you've been doing that shit. Like it's a long old time to have like contest experience, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And you're thinking at the top of the run, you like really calculate. You got a few runs going through your head, and you choose which one suits the thing. But like back in the day, I would have only had one run, and it would be go all out and hope for the best. But now I'm like more strategic in the way that I'm like, I'd rather save myself or my body for like the next one if I need to do that, like, and you'd be a little, there's a little bit more strategy to it. But I feel like you need to be when you're 29 or getting older towards the end of your career, where you're trying to, the days where you're on snow and you feel good are very limited nowadays.
Yeah. Hey, I think I've got a good question, right? So, and it maybe links to what we just talked about. So, do you think the fact that you learnt so young is what... Basically, if you had the opportunity to teach me at my age, I'm 36, you teach me how to snowboard, how limited are my goals? What can I expect to reach? Is it something about the child's brain that can absorb... Because I think that with riding, I think, fuck, this would be a nightmare if I had to learn this. Like, if I had to learn this now, this is quite a wild... Like, sometimes if you flip a big jump, I think, fucking hell, I wouldn't want to like have to learn that now.
Learn that now. Yeah,
it feels a little bit
course.
suicidal or something, you know, or it feels a little bit like yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because at my age now, just starting it, I wouldn't do hit the jumps I hit now. Like, not a chance.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I wonder. Yeah,
die. Yeah. No, totally. Like, I feel like there's a certain cut-off point, isn't there, when you're younger? By the time you you need, like, find your thing, like hopefully find your thing that you're passionate about. And this is what I've been like with my daughter. I just like let her try everything, and maybe one day she finds what she's passionate about. But luckily for me, it didn't take many things to, like, obviously football and cricket and the kind of standard things that you do at school. And then I saw this on TV and I was hooked. And I was always into skateboarding as well, so I kind of knew that it would work. But I feel like, you're right. Like, it helps massively when you do things at a young age. And I know that now because I'm trying so much new stuff.
Yeah.
Like going biking. And like even golf, like I tried golf, and like to take up golf now, and like I can take a break from it and I come back and I'm shit again. Like that wouldn't happen if it was snowboarding. I could take half a year off snowboarding and come back and pretty much do all the tricks I can do now.
Yeah, it sounds cliche, but it's like it's in you.
It sounds bad, doesn't it?
It's like it's downloaded.
It's just muscle memory, and I feel like that muscle memory just doesn't go, and obviously it fades away over time. When I feel like it's still in there, it's just, is the body going to allow you to do that? Yeah. Because I feel that's what I'm scared of. Is I could be 40 years old and think I can do a back fucking triple 14, but my body's like so, like my core strength is so shit that I just basically flop off the jump. Yeah. Like maybe not, but. Like that, like
we need HGH.
I feel like it's so. Yeah, I think it's so ingrained in you if you do it from young. Like, when did you start biking, Ollie?
Really, really young, yeah. But I'm really not. I think much like you. I never really planned on anything. Just
enjoyed it
and really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I think like there's something so what's the word? How you would coach? It's like how you coach is very like ordered and like structured. And how I learn things is really not that way. I don't think I'd do well for, like, coaching wouldn't really have done anything when I was younger. I had to find out myself, I think.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? And I don't suppose you've ever been coached at any point, have you? Have you done anything like that? This is what I found really hard with snowboarding, is because I started like you. I was passionate about it. I just wanted to do it. I didn't care about being professional or anything. And I feel that's the best way. If you can find that and you're passionate about it and you do it enough, of course you're going to be. I feel like you have more chance of being successful than not, right?
Yeah.
At doing it, or becoming good at it, because you're so into it.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
But when coaching came into it and being coached, I hated it. Like, I still hate it now. I can't be coached. Like, we have support team there, but I'm like I'll figure it out myself, like it's really difficult, because I just learned from visually, like, watching others and riding with others, that I didn't come into snowboarding to do it like that. I came in to do it because I wanted to have fun. And I feel like if I let it go down that path, which I have done in the past, I've really got depressed and hated it.
Have you? Yeah.
So I think that's what it is as well. The same with biking. It's self-expression, isn't it? And it's your own thing out there doing it. And when that's taken away from you and you're told to do it a certain way, that's when you do lose what am I doing it for?
You lose that. Yeah, exactly. You lose that, like that kind of love for it. And it's sad. I went through in fact, the Olympics were an amazing experience, but the first one especially. But because the first one, I literally qualified by the skin of my teeth, just because I was hating on the Olympics so much that I left it to like the last few events to try and qualify. And I'm telling you, I needed, like, on the last contest, I needed like a top 5, and I was like, well, shit happens. If I don't make it, I don't make it. Fuck it, it's fine.
If I don't make it, and I can carry on talking shit about it.
Yeah, exactly. and then I make it, and then I'm like, oh great, like, I've made the Olympics. But between that Olympics when I was 18 to the next Olympics was probably the worst 4 years in snowboarding for me.
Really?
Because the pressure to go again and do better than what I did before, which was 2 points off a medal, really close, was basically going for a medal, and I hated that pressure. I was in such a shit place. Like
What does that pressure look like though? Like why does it affect you? What is it? Is it emails? Is it people in your ear? Is it having to be?
It's just,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a bit of both. It's also putting pressure on yourself. Like I'm terrible at putting pressure on myself. Like I feel like, oh shit, like what are people going to think if I go there and screw up and do worse than I did when I was 18 on the first Olympics? I feel like maybe I should be doing better at every one I go to, but it's not the case. Like there's so many different variables that happen along the way. Like I fucked my knee and did my ACL and had to have all that sorted out, and there's loads of things that just kind of got in the way of just life stuff, and it didn't end up being as successful at the next one as the first one was. And it didn't help that another story that my cousin ended up in hospital, and it was in South Korea, and it's not the nicest of places, and I ended up visiting her all the time, and my headspace wasn't with the Olympics, it was with hoping she was okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was just not good. And then but I still did all right. Like I didn't do bad, but I wish I could have done better, but I don't regret, the choices that I made at that time. It just kind of is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day, fuck it.
Was there a lot of hype? Were you being hyped up as a? Because I think that's super damaging. No. Do you remember Sinead Reid on the build up to the BMX?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, she got so hyped. She had the BBC on her. She had, I felt like that pressure is much too much, and it's
too much. And that's what happened to my cousin. She was the medal hope, and she was like this 2018 Olympics was like going to be her. She was winning World Cup. She was won the world title for slopestyle in women's. She was like up there as like a good top medal contender, and I think the problem is you get Team GB building you up, putting on Aldi adverts and doing all this, and you've got all these brands behind you, and you're like, fuck, like I've like all this pressure's on me. Like, and
it's so far removed from what you originally started enjoying, isn't it? That's the thing as well.
Yeah, exactly. So far, she started the same as me. She's like it's crazy, and she's looked when I was like riding with her on the course, because you train together, women and men train at the same time, and I'd take some runs, and she just looked really stiff and uncomfortable, and like she was holding something in, and she's quite she doesn't, even though I'm family, she doesn't necessarily tell me things that are like what's wrong, like, and she'd hide them. She wouldn't tell me either, and clearly was something there, and I could spot it. And she's because she was so tense and so rigid, she fractured her arm on like day one of practice, and then decides, because all this pressure's building up, she tries to hide it, like no press, like don't let any press know about it, like blah blah, like, and it's building up, and she's even more tense. And then the next day, I'm like, first run down, I'm like, okay, just go take a couple of mellow laps down the side, like get warmed up, and I'm like, I'll be here, like, well, like I can come with you, I don't mind taking a couple of runs out of my practice if you want. And the problem is you become so stiff and not warmed up that first run down, she hits there's like this high rail, and it's like quite a drop, probably big enough, like quite a big drop, a couple of meters, maybe more, and to a landing, and she knuckles it, and it's a knuckle that you could probably take if you were warmed up and you weren't bad, but she shattered a heel in so many different places that she had to have, like, honestly, mate, like 18 operations and skin grafts and all sorts to come back, like really bad. And then and this is the thing, is like she was so hyped up, so built up to be a medal hope, and then this happens, and I just think it's just bad. And the thing is, I try and just not even look at the media or anything like that or whatever they're saying, like, because it's just sucks. But it doesn't help with social media these days, does it?
No,
Instagram.
Of course not. How do you think, though, like, the interesting, I think, point to that is, how do you think that could have been managed better? Because I guess that the the media side of it, they're doing their job, right? They're trying to get eyes on you. They're trying to sell things to the sponsors that have backed you.
Of course.
But like, where is that middle ground?
It's trying hard to find it, isn't it? That middle ground, because I think
especially if a lot of the pressure's put on by yourself. That's the thing. Like they're not accountable to that, but they in some ways are.
And I feel like they get carried away. Like, they get carried, like the people try to push to get you press coverage and push, and they get it's like get a bit carried away and not actually thinking about the rider or the athlete, how they're feeling. And there wasn't really any mental support there. So it's hard, and I just struggled definitely way more mentally. Like I was more so, the thing is when you become surrounded with just, like I said, just the team. Like, remember the first Olympics I did, I was with Nike, and I was surrounded by the Nike team, and I had we were traveling as a crew of Norwegians, French, German, like we were Americans, we were all together, and it was like that for the first Olympics. It wasn't for the second, and that's what I didn't like, and I'm still finding it hard to cope with now. If I'm going to be honest. So I'm having to figure out ways of changing that if I can, but because I don't have any obligations to the team at all. It's like, I'm not paid by UK Sport or anything, so I can kind of do things the way I want to do it. But it's difficult when you're in that situation, because when you are UK Sport funded, which I was from first Olympics to second, you feel like you have to obey by all the rules. All hell breaks loose, basically.
Do I wonder, with your cousin and stuff, I wonder whether there's this sort of, there's something gross about it. There's when new sports get introduced to the Olympics, there's something gross about the feeding off them, or like the presenting them and shouting about them, like it's happening with skating, in it now. And then I don't know. It's like if you're a footballer, you're used to this sort of mainstream attention, and then from a snowboarder, especially someone who's come from Halifax or whatever, all of a sudden then it becomes an Olympic sport, and then maybe that's it. It's like the difference is too much, and there's something gross about it. Like it's being fed on, and it's such a difficult balance, dude, because it's like.
It's difficult.
Yeah, because you're presenting it to a wider audience. In theory, all right, maybe 2% of that audience might pursue snowboarding, so it would bring new money, or 5% or whatever. So that could be good for the sport. But it's such a hard one to balance, because then, as you say, something's changed. And maybe as it lost its soul, now we're doing teams, and now we're doing...
Especially if it said there's no infrastructure behind any of it either. It's
hard because those core... It's hard because there's a handful of those core kind of snowboard brands contests that still happen now, and the problem is you get, what's sad about it is it's really hard to make it as your career to do snowboarding all the time, being that type of snowboarder. You need to try and be everything, and it's really difficult now because I've tried to do it. I love riding rails, and I love riding street rails and hitting up Helsinki and doing things differently and filming. But if I just did that as a career, it's really, really, really hard to make it. To make anything out, or to I'm not saying because it's all about money and making something out of it, but you kind of have to, in a way, to do what you love doing, because no one else is going to pay for it other than if you got another job and worked all summer, you could do it. But even that's not enough to do it nowadays, because it's so expensive.
And you're not dipping 4 times, are you? You're not going to be working in the kitchen and then dipping 4 times, are you, on the weekend? Let's be honest.
Nah.
There's no 16s happening if you're working KFC, dog.
Yeah, there's no 40-hour weeks and then 4 dips.
No, you're not getting the 4 dips. You might get the 2.
You might get the 2, but it's hard. Dip, it's just really difficult, and the thing is, and I hate having to be that type of snowboarder sometimes, but I count that, I just see that as work. That's work, and I do this to be able to enjoy the kind of snowboarding that I did when I started, and that's how I separate the two now. Is I go to compete and to do these contests and Olympic games, because it allows me to go and have fun on my snowboard. And that's how I try and balance it out. Because if I didn't, and I just did that, I wouldn't be here today loving it as much as I do still, you know.
Yeah.
I like that. That was good.
Yeah, that's nice.
That was almost quite a nice ender, I feel.
Yeah.
I've got so many questions still left on my list, but I think that was quite a nice ender, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a nice ender. I think it would be interesting though, just to hear, if it's okay.
Yeah.
What is the future? You've talked about your training, this and that. So what have we got coming up? What's the highlight on the horizon? Because I feel, I don't know. Like, are you still Olympics? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is the Olympics next is in Italy, and it's in Livigno, where I've ridden a lot and practiced a lot. And I feel like if it was any Olympics that I was going to try and go for, I'd love to try and go to it, because it means that for once my family are able to come. Because
the
first one I went,
race fan at Olympics. I've never had a dog in the race at the Olympics.
Mate, I'll be honestly, I'll be like a veteran at the next Olympics. I'm like a dad. Dude. I don't know how many other dads will be like competing in the next Olympics, but it's you know, firstly, I just want to be able to still enjoy it, obviously, and I've not got, like, if I'm going to be honest, you know, I love snowboarding and I wish I could do it all my life to this high level, but I'm not in Dreamland. I understand that I'm 29 and understand my body doesn't let me do certain things that I used to be able to do, like ride every single day, 7 days a week, and not feel any pain. Like, I ride 2 or 3 days and I need a couple days off, you know. So it's just like that now, and that's just the way it is. But I love it. I do, you know, try and do the best I can to stay fit and train and gym work and stuff, and stretch and yoga, and I do everything I can.
What does sorry to interrupt you there. What does a week look like for a professional athlete who can't do his professional athlete job easily?
So it basically consists of like probably training 4 times a week in the gym, and ride once a week, especially through the summer months. It's kind of like that. But at the end of the day, that's probably about it, really. I don't really focus too much on what I eat either. So I just eat whatever I want. Like, it's not like, I'm pretty healthy anyways, I think. And then ride my bike.
That's cool, man.
Are you still riding your lockdown setup? To our listeners that haven't seen it, Jamie had an amazing
link
series.
In the show description.
What was it called? It wasn't Backyard Build, was it? But it was like
that. It first started with a few pallets in my back garden in Shalford, and I had this long thin garden, and I was like, rung up my mate, and I wasn't even allowed to see him outside. It was this day I broke rules. I broke lockdown rules to do this.
Yeah,
and
I think it's okay now looking back, mate.
Yeah,
and you didn't pay tax on the thingy money.
Exactly. I'm screwed if anybody listens. So he drops off a few. He's a builder and drops off like 4 pallets, and I'm like, right, I can make some out of this. Wickes was still open because it was one of those places that had to be open still.
Yeah.
Like the supermarket. Yeah. So I go there and I'm like, I get loads of wood and then some PVC pipe, and I'm going to build my own setup in my garden, because if I can't go anywhere or do anything and the slopes are all closed down, I'm going to have to bring the slope to my garden in Shalford. So I decide to hit up a local, like a dry slope called Snow Tracks, which have a surface called Pro Slope, which is kind of it's a really good surface. It's like Snowflex, but it's a bit quicker, like when it's not got water on it. So I hit them up, but in the meantime, until they like got some to me, I used AstroTurf, like just like football AstroTurf, and it worked really well. And I didn't really know it was going to work well. I just chucked some washing up liquid on it, and used the hose pipe, and then it worked a treat, and ended up being able to practice all the rail tricks that I could already do and learn more. So I was like,
so
great. I've got this, like, I can go to the mountain in my back garden, and then in the evening after I finish, put my feet up and have a cup of tea and watch some British TV. And I was like, this is great. And like, I was out there every evening. My neighbours thought I was absolutely mental. I was like tapping bins, you know, like the Guildford bin, you know, like the council trash bins. Like I was putting a lid like this and a stick like that to hold it up, and I was like jumping off the jump and then tapping the bin, and the lid was coming down. And I thought like I was, getting all real creative and stuff. And I did that for the whole of lockdown. And then I moved it. And it expanded and got bigger, and I moved it to my friend's place, which is 5 minutes from where I live now in Cranley, and they've got quite a bit of land. It's like an old farm thing, and I got my mate who's a scaffolder to build this huge scaffolding thing. I built a 40-meter slope.
It's so good,
which you could see from like Pease Lake. Like when I was out riding my bike, you could see it.
No way,
it was that big.
It's well good.
That's sick.
So we'll
put a link to it in the show description too, because you put a load of those on YouTube as well, right?
There's some on YouTube where we got like a fork, like what are they called, like a cherry picker.
That looked
and
terrifying.
We put the cherry picker like extended as high as we could on this cherry picker. This is why I was trying to make it as a YouTuber, because I had nothing else to do, and I was like. And then I was like jumping out of this cherry picker onto this sketchy like scaffolding ramp, and got my mate to film it, and it was just funny. I wish I had like the drive to do more YouTube, but I just I really can't. I think if I was in the mountains, I'd be more likely to do it, but because it's so seasonal, like you can only do it half the year. I feel like my YouTube channel and I feel like you need to be doing it like Instagram. You need to be doing it all the time to get engagement. And I feel like if I only do it half the year and then switch off, it's like doesn't really work. And I tried it and it didn't really work. So I was like, I'll sack this. It costs a lot of money and it's like a lot of effort. And I just but it was fun. During lockdown, it was great, and it was
to be honest, that's where one of the times I first noticed it. I think personally, you popped up on like a vlog, someone's vlog, like Warner's or something.
Oh God! And then was that him following me down that bit and shouting?
It could have been
and heckling me.
It could have been, and then I was like
falling off.
I got it confused. I thought I'd met you before because there's another Jamie who's a snowboarder, and I believe his name's Barrow.
Jamie Barrow. He's the speed
guy. Yeah. So I was like, I've met that guy, and I hadn't anyway. And then followed you on Instagram, and then started seeing you doing all the stuff in your garden, etc. I don't know which way round that came, but that's how it came about anyway.
Yeah, it was amazing. Wicked, and you know, like, and it's wicked to meet, you know, you guys, and like obviously Ollie, we've ridden a few times together and on the bikes and stuff, and like it just brings, you know, like I said, brings back so many memories, and I just love going out and riding the bike and trying something new. Like it really does push me, like riding with you or Jack or Brendan or anyone like that. It just like, and it amazes me at like how fucking good you all are. Like you are all so sick, and I'm like, I just really wish like one day I can get to that level, like, because it is so cool. And I know you probably think, oh fuck, everybody tells me this, but it's really
no,
cool,
not at all. I'm literally just imagining myself in a snowball, rolling down a hill.
When are we? I think we need a date. I think we need a date for going snowboarding.
Just my head out of a snowball.
Yeah, we do.
Let's get it. We need a date. We need a date in the diary for snowboarding.
Do you know what we need to do? We need to find a place pre-season when you can snowboard and mountain bike.
Imagine that. That'd be fantastic.
So you can like do both in one day.
Yeah, let's do it. So like, that's like surf across, but our version of it, like snowboarding.
You're not shit at mountain biking. You're good at mountain biking. So it's a bit unfair. It's just basically it'll just turn into let's watch Ollie snowball down a hill.
Let's be real. Like I'm not gonna say I'm not good at mountain biking.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay. I can get down stuff. I'm not afraid to like go down steep shit and drop off some drops and do a few little jumps. Like, you know those ones on pitch where they're like, there's like you bank that corner on the right, and then there's those like kind of double set, and then you turn left, and there's like that step down.
Yeah, mate.
You know what I
think
mean?
So. Yeah.
What's it called? Is there a name for that run?
I think you're talking about a run called Northern Monkey.
Northern Monkey, yeah, that's it. They've all got names.
Because it's good.
They've all got these names. Like Jack always tells me, I have no idea. They never go in. Anyways, Northern Monkey, and I absolutely love that run. I think it's wicked.
Yeah.
And I can actually hit everything on there, so I'm like pretty buzzed. But I couldn't have imagined myself being there like a year ago doing that. Like when I went past it before, I was like, getting off the side of the jump and then hobbling or like trying to get my bike over it and stuff. But now I'm like, I love it. I love the adrenaline rush. I love trying to learn something new, and keep up with you boys is pretty difficult, but I try.
Well, it's good to have you. Good to have you biking. I look forward to going for a ride soon for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to snowboarding already. Yeah. Let's get a date. We'll get a date in the diary. We'll figure it out after this. Some point.
Yeah, let's do it. Company outing.
We'll make some nice content as well. Yeah,
I'm going in 2 weeks. I'm going in 2 weeks if you want to come.
Where is it? In England?
No, I'm going to St. Moritz.
That's too far for me, that.
Go ride. We do some filming, like with a current brand that I work with now. So, okay. Yeah.
I think a little UK trip might be nice.
Yeah, UK one. I want to go to a miserable, the most miserable dry ski slope, to be honest, because I think it would be funnier to watch us be shit on that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh 100%. God, the most miserable. I'm trying to think.
We don't have to name it and shame them.
Yeah, that would be bad. Yeah, that's true actually. But there's some good ones in Scotland. We could go and do a trip to Scotland and ride bikes.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's a good point. We could do that.
I don't know if there's any in. There's actually one in Wales, and it looks really cool, and it's on the edge of the sea, and I've always wanted to go there. It's on the cliff tops, right on the edge, and you could. I don't think it's that. It's not too far from Bike Park Wales. I don't think.
Really?
You could do Bike Park Wales and that in the same day, maybe.
Is that so?
Maybe.
Is it one with all the holes in where you break your wrist?
No.
Okay. It's the more astroturfy.
It's white. Yeah, it's more astroturfy one. Yeah, for sure. But I'd love to. I've never been to Bike Park Wales ever.
Oh, mate, you'd love it.
Well, Friday, 2nd of December, we're doing our Christmas ride there. If you want to come.
Oh, you're doing your... Oh, my God, that's so annoying. I'm like...
Look at him coming up with excuses. This is so...
He's like, live. I'm washing my hair.
Yeah, look, live. You can see him... Oh, I've got this thing where I get... and then...
Let me just look at my... Let me just put something in my calendar now in a second, just to make that. I've got an event in Manchester at Chill Factory, but otherwise I would have definitely loved to have come. But if you're doing any trips up that way at any point, I'd love to join in. Obviously... You don't have to wait for me. You can wait for me at the bottom of the run, but eventually I'll get down.
Me. I thought you talk about snowboard trips. The miserable. Yeah, you're going to be waiting quite a long time, or not? Maybe we'll get a tumble on and get down to the bottom quite quick.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Be well, good fun. But it's been wicked, hasn't it? It's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, where can people find you, Jamie?
I live in Cranley.
There we go, and we're going to post the address below.
Yeah,
if you enjoyed the episode, go leave a physical review.
Bottom of Bar Hatch Road.
Mate, physical reviews. Can you imagine then?
Oh, posting it through.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
The turd.
Brutal.
Yeah, the turd.
Through the letterbox.
Firework. A shit attached to a firework.
But in all seriousness, I am on Instagram, and it's Jamie Nicholls suck. I'm joking. It's Jamie Nicholls UK, but
there'll be a link to everyone listening or watching in the show description anyway for Jamie's YouTube, social, and
fuck the YouTube off. Don't put YouTube, mate. And don't put Twitter either, because Twitter I just post about cryptocurrencies, not even anything about snowboarding. So don't even. So just do Instagram.
What's your hot take on the latest cryptocurrency? No, let's not do it. Actually, we're going for ages.
Mate, we'll be on another hour.
Okay, we'll talk privately about that.
Follow my Twitter if you want to know what about cryptocurrency.
Dude, I do the same thing. It's weird. I do the same thing on my personal Twitter. I literally just post about XRP. That's it.
XRP, you dirty scumbag.
And there you go. Oh dear. Right, awesome. It's been a pleasure. We've not done any listener questions, folks. We'll do them next week, and we'll announce who won the Dr. Pepper next week as well. Fucking sound mental. We gave away a can of Dr. Pepper on the last episode, Jamie. Yes, it's big time. It is what it is.
Dr. Pepper. You should have asked me. I'd have probably had something to give away. I've got loads of old snowboards. Maybe you should do that.
That's a good idea. We could develop a contest right now.
Let's do it if you want to win. Well, what we did on the last one, right? So people went a little bit mental for this vanilla float Dr. Pepper.
Vanilla float Dr. Pepper. What's so special about it?
It's kind of rare. They're hard to find.
Oh, is it? Are they rare to find?
Yeah, and I found. Well, I not found one. I found a place that sold them, so I bought 2, and then we just gave one away.
That's funny actually, because I've got a case of them in my garage.
No, you don't.
Have you?
Yeah.
What? Okay, I was gonna. Dude, don't. People will be around your house. People went mad for the Dr Pepper.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've got stuff. I've got loads of stuff, like old snowboards and shit. If you want to give a snowboard away, you know what I mean. It might be trashed. I fuck knows what the condition's like, but I can't guarantee it works.
You got any old mattresses or any old fridges?
What about a Red Bull helmet?
I've got a Red Bull helmet. I've got plenty of those.
Use them as firewood.
I'm probably got one in. That's probably a Red Bull helmet on me there somewhere. No.
Oh, maybe. It goes a little fuzzy, as you can probably tell.
The longest rail I ever did.
Is that what that is?
That's a wooden rail, yeah.
It's really long. You went all the way down that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is bad audio. This is bad
for the audio listener.
It took me 2 days. Not gonna lie.
To go all the way down it.
To go all the way down.
What a
dad joke. It fucking was long, wasn't it?
It was miles, mate. It was miles. Miles and miles. But yeah. If you want to give a snowboard away, go for it.
Alright. How should we do it? Well, on the last one, we literally just said, comment below. Any comment.
Follow me and then call me a prick in every in the latest post.
Dude,
no, I'm joking. Don't do that.
You don't want to go down that route. I'm telling you.
You've just done it.
There's a few people listen to this. It's kind of weird and scary sometimes.
No, don't do that.
Okay, how about we do? How about we just throw a social media post up in a few days? We'll throw something up after this has come out with this clip, and you're going to give away a signed Jamie Nicholls, probably beat up.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I can't guarantee the condition because right now, as I'm sat here, I can't go to the shed and look at the condition of them. But when I've finished with them, they're pretty fucked. But you know,
it's a good memento for something.
Yeah, it's cool for the wall.
It's cool, really cool. Nice.
Thanks,
one
Jamie.
for the wall, one for the studio.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
No worries.
Awesome.
I mean, it's absolutely fine. They just build up in my shed, so it's good to give them away now and again, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this seems like a perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll throw a social media post up, or if you do want to win a snowboard, double entry, comment below anything, and end it with Jamie's board.
Well, is that
Hashtag Jamie's board.
Did you say double entry?
Jamie's
was
board.
it double entry? Okay, cool. God. Perfect.
All right. Let's end on that. It's been emotional. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
we appreciate
Jamie.
you.
We need to get you on.
We do this.
Again.
We do this to finish.
I've loved it. What do you do?
That. So here we are at the end of the podcast, and we would love to keep in touch with you. So don't forget, follow The Ride Companion on Instagram. It's at The Ride Companion. If you just want to follow Ollie, it's at OW_23. And of course, here are some clips that we think you might like. And up there, you can subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching or listening. Have a great one. Peace.